So if I were to Google right now, so let's say if I Google reasons why women get married later, what do we think is going to come? Well, we can do research right now. I'm curious. So like I could Google why are single motherhood rates so high? And we could see the types of answers that come up. We could do that if you want. And then we can go through and look. We can go on Google Scholar.
Destiny always insists on doing Google searches in his debates, but Google has proven to have a liberal bias, which of course would favor his positions. So I want to show you guys how they censor politically incorrect viewpoints in their search results. Alright, so let's search is the red pill true in Google and see what comes up. First post, dog whistles. Okay, yeah. Okay. Second post, journey to the heart of modern misogyny. Okay. Next post, extremist medicine cabinet. Okay. Next post, search for dating advice turns to radicalization. Okay, like you can see a lot of this like extreme language here, suggesting that red pill is just some crazy fringe, dog whistle cult extremist group. Let's see what happens when you search this in DuckDuckGo. Okay, a pretty neutral red pill post about self-improvement. That's neutral to positive. Okay, the red pill movie documentary made by a feminist who decided the red pill was true and changed her views. Positive. Okay, The Atlantic, which is naturally left-leaning, but it still leans right for that article. The red pill dictionary definition, neutral to positive. Red pill, blue pill, referencing the Matrix, just definitions, neutral. And then this red pill article about does it work? Okay, neutral. This last one about the ideology and the movement, neutral to positive. So you guys can do the exact same search on Google just to confirm that you get the same results. One thing I would recommend is to sign out of your existing account just so it doesn't personalize your search results. So here's a good one. Who cheats more, men or women? In a Google search, you'll get this bold answer at the top telling you that men cheat more. But if you use DuckDuckGo, the first article tells you men self-report cheating more. However, women cheat more in their prime years of 18 through 24, the Leonardo DiCaprio years. And the second article blatantly says that women cheat more, and they use a different methodology. Okay, last one. Are men better at math? What do you think Google's going to tell you? In bold letters at the top, they tell you, of course not. That's a myth. Now, if we ask DuckDuckGo, the first article that returned is a Scientific American article, and let's just say it disagrees with Google. The next thing I want to show you guys is how research and data, quote unquote, also have a politically correct bias, which will always favor someone like Destiny when he debates these red pillars who hold naturally politically incorrect viewpoints.
So the idea that women are going out to fuck men and then coming back to their beta guys, there's no data to support. I don't know of any trait that guarantees you a high number of partners, despite the fact that since we talk about it like that all the time. Like I can't find research that says.
Of course you can't find research with findings critical of women because women are a protected class, and the liberal feminists that control academia would cancel you if you attempted to publish any paper that goes against their mainstream feminist narrative. While there are many articles to choose from, I want to show you guys a Psychology Today article that points out the blatant left-wing bias in academia that leads to left-wing bias in published academic papers. But first, I want to show here that Psychology Today is seen as a center to even center-left news source. So I strongly encourage you to read this article yourself in full, but here it points out that left-wing faculty outnumber conservatives 10 to 1. Researcher politics can and do influence the questions they ask, how they interpret data, and which findings they choose to suppress and never publish. Selective rigor refers to a tendency to hold research that contests certain type of leftist ideas to higher standards than research that advances leftist ideas. For example, this essay describes a slew of instances in which faculty were deplatformed, their papers retracted, or in some cases were fired. In many cases, papers are selectively cited in the service of advancing leftist narratives, such as pervasive bias against women in peer review and STEM. Punishment of ideas that contest leftist narratives. Intimidation tactics can prevent even the attempt at fair or objective tests of hypotheses if such tests run the risk of producing data that does not support sacred narratives. Why risk incurring the wrath of outrage mobs and losing one's job? Next, I'd encourage you to search on this post, which provides a long list of academics targeted and punished for expressing ideas that didn't conform to the mainstream leftist agenda. I think this paper by Professor Ted Hill is particularly noteworthy. Dr. Hill wrote a paper offering an evolutionary theory for the male variability hypothesis, the idea that human males are more variable than human females on many attributes. It was accepted for publication at a journal. This evoked protest and outrage, which had the effect of pressuring the accepting journal to unaccept the article, the only such case in which I am aware. So I actually read this paper, and it basically talks about how male variability and things like IQ could be a function of female selectiveness. So basically, because females have very selective mating preferences, male DNA is forced to take bigger risks to try to be selected. And that's not really like a gender egalitarian message. And so that's the type of message that's going to be suppressed. Another noteworthy name on this list is Camille Paglia. She's basically deplatformed for her views on anti-political correctness and or anti-feminism. So I hope you can see how destiny cheats in debates, right? When you're going to debate a red pillar or someone who's politically incorrect like Nick Fuentes, you can't insist on only debating topics from published peer-reviewed papers found through Google searches. The findings from that data has been filtered twice, once through a biased Google search and again through a biased academia. So, Destiny's insistence that, oh, you don't have data on that. Oh, you don't have research on that. Like, yeah, the research doesn't exist, like, for good reason. So all you're left with is abstract ideas and deductive or inductive reasoning and things like Occam's razor to push forth the more compelling argument in the debate. One that resonates with what people have observed over their entire lifetimes. So to suggest that women don't select for things like height or wealth in men because you can't find a peer-reviewed academic study on it is just preposterous. And Destiny insisting that, we debate in the realm of published academic papers makes me think of like a penguin that says it can, beat a cheetah in a race. And then, you show up for the debate and, he's like, oh, the race is going to be underwater. Like, what? That's not, it was assumed the race was going to be on land. What are you talking about? You know? And, and that's sort of like the debate tactics, like the sleight of hand tactics that he uses